I'm currently 29 years old this year, and that's almost 30. So I'm just reflecting back and I'm thinking, what are a few things I would tell my 20-year-old self? So here are 7 things that I would tell my 20-year-old self. First thing is to get a part-time job. Getting a part-time job, I think it's a necessary thing for any young adult coming out of their teens to do, because it teaches you the value of money and the value of working hard, working for other people, and when you get that money, you feel good. And I think it gives you some experience into the working world. I personally did not work part-time jobs, and I think that's one thing that I wish I would have done when I was younger. So that's one thing I would tell my younger self, to get a part-time job. The second thing is I would ask my younger 20-year-old self to learn about money. Now, I wasn't a very big spender, but to me, money was just allowance that I got from my parents. I'm in quite a privileged position. But I will say to my younger self, learn about money, and money is very broad, and I mean literally all aspects of it. Investing, how the world is financed, credit, debit, how banks work, how the value of money, and how and what people value in the world also. So like when I say things like that, I mean literally try to understand how the financial system works, and also to start investing early. Investing early is something that I think everyone needs to do, because it is about building the habit of, every month I set aside a certain amount of money and I put it in this something that lets it grow over time. I see a lot of people say that this is not financial advice in their videos, so this is not financial advice, but what I would say is to just put it in a safe ETF that tracks like the S&P 500 or something safe that grows over time. Don't try to pick stocks, don't try to pick crypto. You're not that good. Yeah, don't do that. Just play it safe. The boring way is the safe way. The market beats hedge funds like a lot of the time. And credit, learn how credit works, how the bank extends credit to people, what credit is in the first place, how credit and how the economy is driven by credit, like lending money. I think that's insane. Like when I first learned that, I thought that was insane, that's how banks operate, and if everyone tried to pull out their money, how the bank would collapse. I was like completely mind blown when I first learned about it. But yeah, I would say learn that early, because that would give you a perspective on how you view money, and it would teach you even more about how like to value money, to value finance, and to learn about how the world works. Like really open your eyes. Now, the third thing that I would tell myself, my 20-year-old self, is to learn how to take care of yourself. So that means personal grooming, going to the gym, identifying areas that you're weak in and learning how to improve on those things, mentally, physically. I think what I would try to instill in myself is to learn that taking care of yourself is, first of all, a very big priority, because you must respect your body, you must respect yourself. And at that age, I think there's probably a lot of insecurity. I'm not saying there's no insecurity now, but I think the main thing I would try to drive home to that person at that point of time would be that there might be certain things about your life that you are not happy with, but you have the ability to change that. So that starts with learning to take care of yourself, the way you look, personal grooming, going to the gym. Going to the gym is really a habit that I think is one of the best habits I've ever developed, and I will continue to do for the rest of my life. Just learning to take care of yourself as a habit. The fourth thing I would tell myself would be to do the best that you can in everything that you do. I say that because in my 20s, especially in university, I was not the best group member to have on projects, and I kind of regret that a little bit, because I think that there were a lot of situations where I could have learned a lot, but instead I chose to take a back seat and just like, I don't know, but what I found is that when you I don't think I'm a person like that now, because I have this mentality now of doing the best in everything that I do, I can apply myself. But I think that I would tell this to my younger self, because this habit is something that needs to be built from young, because that makes you into a person who is reliable, and a person that is reliable is a huge asset anywhere you go and everywhere you go. I'm glad that I built up this habit for myself now, but if I were younger and I had built up this habit of really trying my best in everything, I would have learned a lot more, picked up a lot more skills, and be maybe in a better position than where I am today. How you do anything is how you do everything. The fifth thing that I would have told myself is to learn how to be bored, especially at that age. People of that age would be caught up with social media, playing games and watching videos and whatever. But what I failed to realize at the time was that boredom and creativity are separated by a thin line, and it's only by being bored that people learn how to be creative. So if I was bored more often, I might have come up with some cool ideas, creative ideas. I always thought of myself as not a very creative person, but I think I was just not bored enough as a kid, too much stimulation. So yeah, I would tell myself to learn how to be bored. I think it was René Descartes, or one of the French philosophers, who said that all of man's problems stem from their inability to sit quietly in a room by himself. Yeah, and I agree with that. The sixth thing that I would tell myself is to take risks, try new things and explore. The 20s are basically for trying new things and saying yes to everything. And it's only by trying everything that's how you figure out what you like and what you don't like. You have nothing to lose. You don't have a house to pay for. You don't have a partner to be responsible to. You don't have a life to build yet. You're just exploring things, any opportunity that comes up, of course within reason. And you're just making use of your biggest asset, which is your time and your energy, right? Exploring opportunities basically helps you figure out what you like, what you don't like. And then when you're in your 30s, that's when you can double down on what you like and aggressively say no to things that you don't like. So that's what I would say to my younger self, really try and explore everything. I was quite closed off because I was afraid of losing, and I didn't want to look like a loser, so I was quite afraid to try new things. But now I'm just I'm more like, fuck it, just go. So yeah. And the last thing is very simple, very straightforward. Take lots of photos and videos, because you're only 21 once, and those are the last few years of being quote unquote young. So take lots of photos and videos because they'll be really fun to look back to. So those are 7 things that I wish I told my 20-year-old self. Okay.